All right, cool. So I just put two links in the chat. There's the workbook and there's the Canva template. I'm going to share my screen and just go through this Canva template because it, from a high level, this first page kind of talks about what we're doing here. So when we think about developing a treatment program, really what we're trying to do is we're kind of trying to read the patient's mind, and we're trying to see like what are all of the objections, all of the concerns, all of the problems and obstacles that they might perceive that they would run into, and then how do we create solutions that address those problems. So we start with this idea of their dream outcome, which in our case, for most of our patients, their dream outcome is that they can hear clearly in the listening environments that are important to them. And then if they have tinnitus, we also have a solution that's going to address how bothersome their tinnitus is. So what we're going to do together first is identify what the problems and obstacles might be. We're going to brainstorm what some of those solutions might be. And the kind of the cool thing here is that you just give yourself permission to think of like anything. If there were no barriers to, with time, with money, with resources, whatever, what could I do to create an amazing patient experience that would address their concerns? And then what we're going to do is we're going to analyze all of those potential solutions. And we're going to say on the left column is value. So how valuable is that to our patient? And then what's our cost to deliver it? And so when we think about cost, generally we're thinking about resources in terms of our time or staff time. We're thinking about if there's any actual tangible like cost of goods associated with it. So for example, if we have something that's low value to the patient, high cost to us, we're not going to include that in our solution. We have something that's kind of neutral value or moderate value to the patient and low cost to us. Possibly that's not necessarily valuable enough. We want only high value for the patient. If it's high value and low cost to us, that's like amazing because we can scale that. If it's high value and high cost, as long as it makes sense, we can also include that in our final offer. All right. So the first thing that I would like for us to do is jump over to this worksheet, this workbook. And actually, I'm going to pause, or I'm going to stop my share for just a second. And I'm going to make sure that I'll be notified if anybody comes in. Okay. All right. So with this workbook, what you guys can do is when you get in here, you can just hit file, make a copy, and then make your own version of it. And everybody will work off of their own version. But we can also collaborate here and come up with things together. So I've already done some of the legwork of identifying some of the questions that or concerns that patients might have. Would you guys mind taking a moment to read through those and see if there are any others that I haven't thought of yet?
Seems like that covers it.
Yep.
Cool. So let's do a couple of these together, and then I'm going to have you guys, let's split the remainder up, and then we'll resume together and share what we came up with, and then we can add to each other as well. So I came up with a few solutions for don't like how hearing aids look. Can you guys think of any other possible solutions to this?
Don't buy hearing aids.
The solution we're not trying to go after.
I suppose Lyric could be, if that's something you offer.
Yeah,
are we talking about suggestions or like just tangible, factual kind of stuff?
What do you have in mind?
I was thinking like well, there's a lot of more like younger kids who are making it stylish to have things in their ears with like earbuds and
Mhm.
more culturally acceptable these days rather than the gigantic beige plastic things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it could
think
be like,
we're actually have a patient that was really wanted lyric, but is not a candidate due to anatomy. But I think what she ended up going with was, I don't even know the name of it because I don't fit a lot of Signia, but is it the Active or something like that? That looks more just like,
an
she
earbud.
works at Apple. She wants it to look more like technology that is not a hearing aid, but it
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily need to be invisible. So yeah, I think that's a good
Wow.
suggestion.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. What about sound quality concerns?
Your auditory retraining structured trial period. Seems like that covers everything we discussed. So yeah, I mean, just talking about best practices, and I talk about that it's a little bit like going through physical therapy where it's a process and you're not going to get to that end goal. So for me, it's just counseling on realistic expectations and then how we're going to overcome
Yeah.
and be a solution that's more of a treatment plan versus just sticking a hearing aid in somebody's ear.
Do you guys, as far as treatment philosophy, how do you guys think about initially fitting? Like, do you start at a more comfortable fitting level and gradually build up to target over time?
Yeah. Now that I'm in private practice.
Yeah.
We typically do real ear, but then we'll drop it down for comfort from there, just so they can, we can explain it. They can kind of see it visually, and then know that this is the goal, that we're not just guessing or saying, how does this sound? But that it's okay, that we want them to be comfortable and be able to wear them versus be taking them out. And that's part of the process, is gradually getting into their full prescription.
Cool.
Oh, yep, that covers it.
Great. So what if Joe, what if you take 6 through 10, Kim, you take 11 through 15, and I'll take 16 through 20, and we can take whatever we need, 5 to 10 minutes to kind of brainstorm on these, and then we can come back together.
Okay. I need to get a notepad. Okay, I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Joe, you did 6 through 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't
What
have
are you
time
thinking?
for office visits. I had mobile services, telehealth. Consider outside normal office hours. I actually did that today. Didn't have a fourth one for that.
Okay. Kim, do
Number
any others
7.
come to mind immediately for you on that one? Don't have time for office visits.
I mean, not particularly, nothing I can think of. I mean, I do try to let people, know that as much support as they need, like there might be the person that would rather just come in and have us do everything once a month. I can also kind of cater to the other person in that maybe they don't need to have, maybe I can teach them how to do a lot more at home. We follow up less often.
Could be
And maybe they don't
unbundled.
need the comprehensive care plan or something like that, just options if that's not important to them, I guess.
Yeah, unbundled might be a time saving option for those people.
What about like preferred scheduling?
As far as don't have the time, I mean, for sure. Yeah. Like outside, like preferred scheduling where they kind of have the options, or
Yeah, that's what I was kind of in with outside office hours.
Mhm.
So like one thing that we would also do in our clinic is if we were taking third parties and private pay, our private pay always got
Mhm.
the preference on who got to schedule first, and then there were really restricted times that managed care patients could schedule. Okay, what about not sure I'll get the desired result?
Counseling,
Okay. You
trial
want to
period.
expand on counseling?
Sure, yeah. So this is sort of where we're doing more of the motivational interviewing. We're asking questions about their experience with friends. We're asking about their concerns about if they think they're going to, how they're going to be hearing sounds differently compared to how they are now. They've heard stories before from friends,
Got it.
kind of probing more around the apprehension about their concern about not getting the desired result.
Cool. Could also be like a like a COSI or something, for example, where it's like you're getting clear on their specific situations they want to hear better.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I had trial period.
Mm-hmm.
I
Do you
had
have a
demo
certain
after.
length of trial?
I typically do 45 days. That's 30 is minimum, 45 to 60. I think that's plenty of time for someone to decide on if what their experience with sound is like with hearing aids.
What do you guys do if you have somebody swap technology during a trial?
Good question. That's actually on my plate right now. But it's for a style, not technology.
For us, the trial period would start again.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I
that's what I
think
did
that's
too.
just like the law in our I don't know what state are you in, Joe?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, we're in California, so it's horrible here as far as all of
So
that
is it
goes. But
technology level or even like if they went, so for example, there's Phonex coming out with like a new slim product, which is
mhm.
narrower. And would I start that over even though like it's same level of technology?
Are they in or out of their trial period
Right now
at that?
she's in a trial
Yeah.
period.
So I mean, largely what we do, I think, is because of the laws, but it seems to work out. I mean, I think people feel a little more comfortable that if something wasn't working out, whether it was functionally they can't get it in their ears or they can't
Mhm.
manage it or something like that. I mean, knowing that they can try something different and then they have more time is helpful. But in California, I mean, if it's a different serial number, they're returning one for credit. Like we have to do a trial period over again. So it's
Okay.
not like I have an option to do it a different way. So I've never really thought about it. But one thing I do like to mention and have as part of our offerings is that even if they're outside of their trial period, we offer an extended period of time, let's say 90 days, where they can upgrade or change styles, that type of thing. Even though it's beyond their trial period,
Mhm.
because we do have that wiggle room. We're not mandated by California at that time to return it. So, but we do offer an extended exchange period. So I think that might be helpful in that situation where they know like, hey, okay, well, it's the 45 days. I think this is great, but you know, whatever, maybe I want to upgrade, giving in that extended upgrade time or exchange for a different style without doing it here. As far as
Yeah,
like the returning and starting a new purchase agreement, that's different.
I'll probably just extend her trial period with the new ones because she's already
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and keeping in mind that the concept behind what we're building is how do you create programs that are not the minimum, that are different, that are
Right.
like uniquely you. And so a
Right.
lot of times being extra generous on stuff like this, that's peace of
Mhm.
mind, that's like, I'm on your team, we're going to get the right solution, you can feel confident. I'm with
Right.
you as long as you're motivated to do this, I'm going to stick with you and get it right.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
people want to keep working with you. So I really
Right.
like that 90 days to upgrade or exchange. And I kind of, as we're talking about this, I'm kind of thinking that having some sort of like comprehensive peace of mind
Mhm.
program guarantee, something like that, that like kind of encompasses all of these different variables that we're talking about with exchanges
Mhm.
and extending warranty or extending trials and all that. I think that's something that we should be thinking about.
How do you deal with
Um,
the manufacturer payment terms then with the 90 days to upgrade or exchange? Because I believe it's like 60 days for payment for them.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
so if they're upgrading and exchanging and we've already paid for it, then I mean essentially we're not doing anything different on our end with the patient payment because they've already paid, we've already paid the manufacturer. So at that point, it's just a credit rebill for the new. I mean, typically, if you're upgrading, it might be a little bit more, but they're going to give you credit for the ones you've already paid for. Um, do you collect payment up front when people are fit or
mhm.
yeah. So it hasn't been an issue for me. Um,
all right,
because when
for
I
the
do the
sake,
exchange, I'm just same thing with the manufacturer. I'm exchanging it, and there's either no, if it's a different style, maybe it's the same cost or it's a little bit more, but then the patient would pay an upgraded amount as well, right? So if they're going from real twos to real ones, then they're paying the additional cost, and then I have a little more cost to the manufacturer. So it's not for me. It's been fine.
all right. So any other ones around not sure I'll get desired results?
Demo after consult testimonials from other patients who are willing to contact the patient.
Okay, so like having reference, like patient references,
Mm-hmm.
testimonials and references.
Like, oh, I have John Smith here. He would really like, you can contact him. He's had a great experience. Sometimes
Yeah,
I've actually had that happen and they really appreciated someone to talk to other
you can
than
make
the
that part
provider.
of an ambassador program too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm not sure how you would package this as part of like your offerings, but I just really let people know that we don't want hearing aids sitting in drawers. We want you to wear them. And that, and again, just going back to doing identifying what their desired result is and that we're going to measure that outcome and we're going to ensure that okay, these are your goals, we're meeting these goals. It's not just like here you go, how are you doing, it's just more of a structured program to ensure. And then, bottom line, I'm not trying to talk people into returning their hearing devices before I've even fit them, but you know, honestly, I mean, I've had patients that are like, they're not really wearing them. We check the data logging. I mean, I talk about holding them accountable as well, and that I'm going to look and we're going to have a conversation. Like, how can we make this better? Why aren't you wearing them, or whatever it might be? And that there's just a structured plan around that, and that ultimately, if they don't have the desired result, I usually will tell people, again, I'm not trying to talk them into returning, but if you need to return, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not going to make it difficult for you. It's going to be an easy process. Here's the discussion, or whatever the process is, because I would rather have somebody in a year that maybe they're not ready right now, maybe, whatever it might be, and they go through that. Maybe in a year they're going to be more ready and then they'll come back, or we're just moving along in the process. So again, I don't know how that relates to packaging up, like here's what we do or here's what we offer, but I
Yeah.
find that
I mean,
helpful.
I often found in practice that just the awareness that there was a trial period there
Yeah.
was frequently enough. All right. So what
Right.
about hearing aids are too expensive?
Again, counseling cost versus value, talking about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I usually find that people say both. That it's a cost and value situation. I don't, I really have switched to, instead of pointing out, certain scenarios about other areas where someone might spend $5,000 on something that without a blink, of an eye. But that's still, I think, valid to say, well, this situation you might spend that in. Do you find that your hearing is as valuable for you,
Yeah. What if
for
we take it
quality of
out?
life.
What if we take it, because that's from a counseling standpoint, that's good. What if we take it out of the world of counseling and more into like what's a solution that we could have or an option that we could
Yep.
have that would address
Financing
that?
options, insurance, OTC, other tech levels.
Different service plan levels.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna add that one on mine.
Yep.
Levels.
What about price matching?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan either.
I mean, I would like to hear your perspective on that, but
I don't like to nickel and dime and
I just don't, yeah, I just don't. I mean, some people just feel like they need a deal, you know, and it's like you got to throw them some kind of a bone. But I don't like discounting or price matching because then, you know, Joe down the street that's my best friend, why did I pay more? And then you price match for this one. And it, you know, I think if you explain the value they're getting in terms of it's a treatment plan and here's what we offer, here's what's included, and just having different levels of that in relation to their what's high value to them, right? And making it make sense to why it's that cost. And again, the question really is it truly too expensive, or are they just not seeing the value? And so what is the solution need to be? Like this person is truly on a fixed income, you know,
Yep.
we need to have to go with lower level and unbundle, or is it, you know, the value? And then do we need to demonstrate more value to them? And if that isn't valuable to them, then okay, here's our 1-year service plan option or our unbundled option, or, you know.
So heard. Here would be the angle I would potentially be thinking about it from would be if you could disambiguate how much you're charging for the product, the devices, and then how much you're charging for your service program. And you can say, I'll price match devices,
but not the services.
Service plan is a different thing because this is proprietary to us and there's no
Yeah.
place you can price match that on. But if you find a Phonak 90 for, you know, $3,500 for a pair, then I'll price match that, but then the service program is still going to be the same.
Right. Okay.
See,
Yeah.
for me, I look at like the service plan also as relatively, you know, like at least $1,500 for a year.
I mean, the service plan should be where the cost is. I mean, it should be assuming you're comprehensive, like for the life of the warranty or something. So like a 3-year treatment program, that should be definitely more expensive than the product, I think. Or
Yeah,
at
that
least
was for a year.
pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which the good news there is like, you know, even like, so when we're thinking about these things, a lot of times it's not that somebody will actually try to price match you. It's that they know that by me saying that I'll price match, it's me saying I'm not trying to overcharge you for this product because the product isn't the key to the solution, right? I'm perfectly fine with you buying the hearing aids somewhere else and bringing them to me and having me fit them to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, coming at it from that point of view and separating it out, I do like that idea. Just, you know, because price is obviously something that people use as an objection. Well, I'm going to go do my due diligence, do my research, you know, here's the price. And rather than you just never hear back from them or whatever, like letting them know that that's an option. I feel like if you did your job well, then they would reach back out at least and say, hey, I found this price. What can you do for me? Versus you just never see them again.
100%.
So yeah, that I think would be good.
Cool. What about uncomfortable hearing aids?
Okay, well, there's actual physical modifications that can be made. There's the trial period if they've never tried them before. Obviously, again, sort of a repeat with the demo that if they've been used to, you know, ITEs for 20 years and they have a mild to moderate or moderately severe loss and you put RICs on them. This just happened to me on Monday. The lady was just completely ecstatic about how comfortable they were and how light they were. So definitely having the demo after the consult is important, in my opinion, for an extended period of time while you're talking to them about your service plan and everything like that, and how you differentiate yourself. Anything else from you guys?
I mean, you could include custom earpieces in
Yeah.
the cost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was what I was thinking. I mean, I mean, in our bundled option, the custom pieces are included. And we can definitely always, I just let them know, we can start here, or, maybe we go custom to begin with, and explain why. But yeah, custom. And just
Yeah,
again, that we have time to try those things. I mean, that's part of the adaptation and trial period, is we have the ability to put these in your ears and make sure that you can, again, functionally use them, that they fit comfortably, and we have time to make modifications or changes.
What do you do for
Yeah.
patients who need power aids, power BTEs with custom molds who want a demo?
I mean, you mean demo, just in-office demo, or?
Maybe for a few weeks. They want to, like, they're
No.
Don't do it.
I was going to say no. First of all, if they have that much of a hearing loss, they don't need a demo. They have hearing loss. They need hearing aids. You know what I mean? And
existing hearing aid user who's currently on borderline with a high power receiver RICS who could fit into like a NAIDA or any power device. So they really need a new mold, and you want to try a different manufacturer. So then essentially maybe consider like a fitting where there's a non-refundable fee for that would cover the ear mold should they decide not to pursue the power devices.
I mean, for me, I would for that scenario, I would definitely just figure out where we're going to start, what product we're going to start with, fit them, they sign a purchase agreement, they started, that's their demo, is their trial period. And then if we need to try a different manufacturer, we can try a different manufacturer. Now, in California, we have to give them the money back for their ear molds. So it's nothing we can do about it. It's stupid, but it is the way it is. But
That's
I mean,
crazy.
you could just, yeah, I mean, I don't, the
Seems
ear
like the
molds aren't that
manufacturer should have to reimburse you for the ear molds too.
well, they, some will, but
In shipping.
not always. I mean, definitely if you order from a particular manufacturer and they sell also, actual just standard hearing aid molds, sometimes you can get them to do that, or that is their policy, but typically no. I mean, yeah. People always ask, why are hearing aids so expensive? It's because, well, in California, it's because I'm spending thousands of dollars on people that return their hearing aids that I can't recoup. So somebody's paying for it. No. Anyway.
All right. And I think about like hearing aids. So like we know, right, as professionals, hearing aids are uncomfortable. Like this might be something that either they're thinking about ahead of time, or maybe they didn't even know to think about it ahead of time, but it could potentially become an issue. And so like a lot of what we're doing is giving them the peace of mind that we've got a game plan in place to address that issue if it comes up, and we're like demonstrating it to them. It might not be that we're actually changing anything we're doing in our process. It's more like how we communicate our process to the patient.
Right.
What about trouble hearing TV?
TV device, CCTV, sitting arrangement, programming adjustments.
Which, I mean, Joe, Joe is a mobile audiologist, so you kind of have a unique opportunity to even like consult them about their arrangement of their living room. Right. So you could even do like a home audio setup and assessment or something like that. Like you could help them. I mean, you've got a lot of opportunity to like set up a smart speaker or help them get their TV set up. And maybe if they need like a, any assistive listening devices inside their home or a flashing doorbell or anything like that, you could help them with all those things too. And you become like that comprehensive home resource. Yeah,
I actually include that in why I tell people why I love coming to their homes is because I can get sort of an acoustic snapshot of what type of world they live in. Husband
be
is in the kitchen and the wife is in the den, and we can't have
Yeah.
that happening, you know.
It would be cool, like, to come up with, like, you could even, with this home audio thing, you could even have like a checklist that you go through. That's just
Okay.
like part of your process that you go through, and you look, and you could even do additional stuff like looking for loose rugs or looking for lighting in the hallways and fall risk stuff while you're doing the audio as well. And that could be like something that you kind of say, like, hey, once I fit you, this is part of my fitting process, is to also do a home assessment to identify all the areas in your home and your dining room and give you like a customized kind of hearing plan.
Yeah.
I think that could be really cool, actually. Anything else around TV? I think those are all pretty good.
So I mean, for us, it just, as far as like as a package, we
Mhm.
include an accessory in the fully bundled comprehensive care plan. Pricing would include an accessory. And so
Yeah, because they're pretty inexpensive.
if that was a concern, then they could choose the TV accessory as their accessory.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Kim. So this is going to be kind of overlap, but hearing in church, lecture hall, auditorium.
Yeah, I mean, T-coil, FM, other accessories, just obviously even just appropriately fit hearing devices, could help with that. Just counseling on preferential seating, 5 keys.
Mhm.
Those are what I came up with, just to learn how
Possibly
to,
like
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say possibly if it's appropriate, like custom programs for certain listening
Sure.
environments.
Mm-hmm.
Preferential seating.
So yeah, you could have like 5 keys is a nicely packaged way to just like automatically give somebody access to all these like adjustments that they can make to their environment and to their communication strategies.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also just have a handout that you give everybody that's like, just some high level communication strategies as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a handout also. Okay. Anything else on that one?
That looks good. Joe, anything come to mind for you there?
Mhm.
Okay. Afraid I won't use them.
So this kind of overlaps with something else we went over. It was very similar, but counseling, motivational interviewing, why are they really afraid they won't use them? Get to the bottom of that. And then just, again, the treatment process and ongoing care, and how we're going to, be there to support them on an ongoing basis to ensure they use them. The trial period, again, if they're not using them, they can return them. Just support during the adaptation period to ensure use.
Maybe data logging reviews if
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
a loved
Yep,
one concerned
exactly.
about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this too, I think, is like when you're talking about your treatment plan, you're communicating that this is a frequent problem that people experience, where they buy hearing aids and then they end up not using them consistently, which is why we've created boom, 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 to make sure that you're integrating it as a habit.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. We've probably done some of this on 6.
Yeah. So just telehealth, mobile/home visits, flexible preferred scheduling. That's what I basically came up with. Just, information, again, to help them so they can manage things more at home, so that they aren't having to always come to the office if they're able to.
What about What about helping or having a contact like with your city or public transportation, or having some sort of like their senior oriented rideshare services, or having
Yeah,
some
I mean,
sort of like
yeah,
transport?
yeah, we do that. I didn't really think about it. I
I
mean,
didn't even think of that
it,
either.
I mean, most of it's not really, this isn't really an issue for most of our people, but yes, we do, especially in, some of my offices, the resources are a lot better for things like that. But yes, I mean, having that information on hand to let them know would be helpful for sure.
Yeah, because I could even see like part of this being where you have a separate handout or a separate flyers.
Hmm.
Kim, we were talking about like what to include in that folder. Like you could even have
Right.
like a hearing care for seniors guide, and then
Hmm.
you're like, here are things that you want to specifically know for seniors, and it's like about how to use the app, or like resources for getting to appointments, or like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Which could lead into this one, not tech savvy.
So I put monthly classes to like a technology Tuesday kind of thing where they can come in and we can help them with their phone and their technology and just support them in that. We have daily walk-in hours, where a technician is available for Bluetooth pairing, all of that type of thing, where they'll just do it for them. So my philosophy is not to hate that kind of thing. I really love all of the connectivity and accessories and all of that. And I love to help them with it because it just gives them more reasons to be happy about their hearing devices. So I personally hate giving out the manufacturer phone number for them to call. It's usually just very frustrating and they don't actually, like, I've had people try to call the manufacturer before because I wasn't around, and I'm just like, you know what, just give me the phone, let me figure this out. In 30 seconds I figured
Yeah.
out something that they couldn't over multiple tries. So um I mean, I just try to let them know that's what we do, right? And
Are
or if
you
you want to learn.
guys are you doing like a Bluetooth setup at the fitting
Oh,
typically?
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think about putting that because that to me, that's like obviously going to do that. But yes, we download their app. I mean, we try to, if they're tech savvy, then that's different. Then we would, here's the app. If you want to download it before, at the consult, we would have that conversation. But we set that all up. I pair everything. I even with, accessories that I don't necessarily know about every TV. I take it out, I plug it into my TV, show them the possible options, where to look. If you can't figure it out, take a picture, send it to us. I mean, I try to be very proactive. I mean, I have gone to homes. I'm not necessarily mobile, but I mean, we've got a portable audiometer too. Like we will make it happen, whatever. If that's another thing too. Anyway, I got on a tangent. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, but yes, we go through all of that at the fitting.
Well, and that's one of those things where it's like we just assume, because we do it every day, we just assume everybody knows obviously we do this.
But we have to communicate that.
It's
Yeah.
a doctor sitting there for 15 or 20 minutes helping you set up Bluetooth on your phone and learn how
Right.
to use it. Like we shouldn't assume that they think we would do that. And there are practices that don't, and just say,
Right.
here's the Bluetooth hotline, call them if you want help.
Yeah.
Some of
And
them,
I love
patients
like the
are
option for the like the white glove kind of like I'll come out to you kind of thing. Like I feel like there should be some sort of like if you could put some
hotspot.
kind of something around that to make it more structured and less one off, and make it like available as maybe something they can sell themselves
Right.
into or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. And even as Joe, you were, mentioning that you're mobile and kind of how you assess the home, and Brad, you were even talking about doing other, like you could even look at fall risks and things like that. I mean, again, we're not mobile, but I mean, I'm even thinking in terms of just having even one of our odd techs that could offer that, right? That we could have a structured program, and it's like, you know, so and so can come out and do these things. And then it's either can be part of the comprehensive plan or an add-on or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really cool option. Concierge,
I think
home,
there's also like a
sub.
learning time frame of like with counseling, just like I understand you want to stay simple. We'll start with simple, and as we move along, the patient
Yes.
gains confidence, and oh,
Hmm.
my grandchild got me this new smartphone, and over time, this fear can diminish with your sort of reassurance about how technology can be an asset for quality of life, instead of like, oh my gosh, technology these days, it just can never keep up with it. And I just sort of that mentality,
Hmm.
changing that mentality.
Right.
And then what if my hearing loss gets worse?
I mean, so again, it just goes to kind of what we offer, ongoing testing, ongoing programming as needed. Just all of the things that we offer to ensure that the hearing aid's working to specifications. And also, if if that was kind of a focus of theirs that was important that they're concerned about, just maybe that's one reason that we would recommend a RIC device that has the ability, like we can start off with the mildest hearing loss and fit this huge range just simply by changing the power receiver or changing to a custom mold. So those are the things I came up with.
Yeah,
Anything else?
we did what you're talking about, and we called it a prescription update, which
Okay.
I might have stolen from somebody like Audigy or somebody at some point.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way that lands with patients is like we retest your hearing to get an updated hearing prescription, and then we put that new
Hmm.
prescription into your devices and make sure we
Right.
pick devices that have enough headroom to go up. If your hearing gets
Hmm.
worse, we've got a lot of extra space to compensate for that. So it's like
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying, and then it's just putting programming around it.
Right. And that's what I mean, see, I know it's like you said, you kind of have like, I was just reading an article that was talking about how we know so much, it's really hard to take ourselves outside of what we already assume or know, and then really come at it from the point of view of the consumer that doesn't know these things. And that's hard to do sometimes. And then even though I know what I do and I know I do a good job, I don't necessarily know how to word it where it sounds so cool, like a prescription update. So no, I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's the goal of doing this, is putting it in the
Exactly.
context of what are their questions, what are their concerns, and then how are we probably already addressing them just without telling them.
Right.
Um, you could do like hearing gets worse. You could like potentially have a lease or a membership program with early
Hmm.
upgrade options. Remember, we're just brainstorming. We're not saying these are things we will do, but options. All right,
Yeah.
I'll jump to mine because we've got a few minutes here. And I think probably what we'll just need to schedule another session to continue doing this. But do
Sure.
you guys find this to be helpful or valuable so far?
Yeah.
I do very much so. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
All right, so can't afford to upgrade frequently. I came up with flex devices as an option. Loyalty programs, so having the option to upgrade and trade in your current devices. Extended warranty options where they can have the peace of mind that they'll be able to extend their warranty beyond the original manufacturer warranty. And then, leasing and membership options where we could upgrade, where they're just paying like a set amount, and then we can upgrade them periodically. Anything else you guys can think of around upgrade?
So
No.
with the loyalty program, are you with the upgrade discounting then or valuing their trade-in somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what I did. We would do any purchases, upgrades prior to their warranty expiring. We would give them 20% off of the new technology.
Okay.
And then once they got past about a month past their manufacturer warranty, then we would go down to 10% trade-in.
Okay.
And they understood that the reason we were doing the trade-in isn't that I could resell the hearing aids. It's that essentially I have to do less work to get the new hearing
Hmm.
aids up and going for them. So it's
Right.
essentially like
Question.
a service plan discount. Yeah.
So when you're doing, I mean, just to clarify, you had talked earlier about I mean, and this is probably another conversation, but like the way the pricing, if you're kind of itemizing it out and separating the cost of the actual device from the service plan, what are you discounting? Are you discounting the whole total bundled price together, or just the hearing devices, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never like delineated on the invoice. Probably
Okay.
though, if I would have, it would have been against the service plan actually, because it's less service, like it's less, especially if I'm within the
Right.
same
Yeah.
manufacturer, I'm typically just
Right.
transferring settings and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. All right. So not wanting to be nickel and dimed. I've bundled service plan is probably the best option
Yep.
for that. We've identified everything you're going to need and you just pay once.
Yep.
Having structured treatment programs where they can prepay for additional years or additional amounts of time with treatment. Financing options for bundled solutions, so they have a low monthly payment, but they're not getting charged for every service. And then like if you have standalone solutions, like for example, we did Redux and we would charge for Redux. We would charge like $10 per session for Redux, or you could buy bundles with Redux. And I think if it was like, if they paid like $100, we would just do Redux anytime they came in, they could get it whenever they wanted it. So anything that you can like bundle into a package, I think is a good solution for nickel and diming. So not sure how much to invest. This has some overlap, but 45-day trial period with no cost swaps to new technology, unless there's a difference in price matching, like we talked about, multiple service plan options. So being able to downgrade the service plan, which I think both of you guys have kind of taken what I have as far as like taking it down to a year, taking it down to fully unbundled. And then the loyalty upgrades and trade-in options. So this is starting to overlap. Not sure what the best solution is. So having the consultation, the listening needs assessment. So some of this stuff, like when we're talking about some of this stuff, some of it might be that we're sending them information pre-consult. And we're saying like, hey, you might be concerned that you don't want to make a bad decision about purchasing the wrong technology. Here's what we're going to do during your consultation. And we have a structured process to make sure you're getting what you actually need. You could have a hearing aid buyer's guide that you send out prior to consult. You could have a current, like you could review current hearing aids and send them either videos or blog post reviews of current hearing aids. Obviously, that means that you have to make that content for them. And then considering going to a chain and a big box. I know, Kim, this has been something your team we're working through, trying to get over the Costco competition. One thing that we had was having an option that was like Costco price, Clear Life quality. And it's like we would do real ear measurement, we do the brain retraining program, we do all that stuff. Obviously, it's entry-level technology, but we're getting in that $2,000, $2,500 price range. So we have something in that tier, but they can work with us.
Yeah.
So they're paying for the service.
Or I mean, what we did with those is the 45-day, like the brain retraining kind of period, the adaptation period was included, and then they were unbundled after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a 1990 price option that is more entry level technology with the unbundled, best practices fitting. And then there was something else. What was I thinking? I don't remember.
All right. I know, Kim, I've got my call with your team here in just a minute, so I'm going to wrap up here. So I think a couple other things we could think about around considering going to a chain, having treatment plan comparisons.
I was going to say that. I was just going to say also, just, if somebody's really set on that, I just really let them know, like, you can buy your device somewhere else and we can still offer our treatment. Here's what our yearly treatment, plan costs type of thing. I mean, if that's works for them,
assuming they're not locked devices, right?
Yeah, I know in California they're actually working on a law to not allow that. And for them, I usually will even tell them, if they're coming to me and they're dead set on that, I'll let them know, well, this is what I would recommend you get from Costco.
Yeah.
Because that's what we can work with. And if you aren't getting what you need from them, we're here.
Right.
That's a good point.
And then just having some content to send, like a best practice guide, which you could also just steal that from Cliff's website and share. Because if they take that to Costco, they're not going to get all those best practices provided
Yeah.
for them. Having patient testimonial videos that you can share prior to the consult. And then having this kind of like thinking about a white glove concierge kind of comprehensive treatment program and being able to
Mhm.
be like, here's our fat stack of all of the things that we do for you. And
Right.
here's the little tiny couple of things that they do for you,
Right.
you know, and making it more clear.
Yep.
All right. I will, I'm going to stop recording. I'll follow up with